chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I won't get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're chance to be ruthless. Make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb. I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
And we're rolling in, going free, ladies and gentlemen. It is magnificent to see you all on this Saturday night. I am again, of course, in the once great state of Virginia, outside of Mordor on the Potomac. It is 8:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to see all of you. You may financially gift over the course of this roll-in, going free gathering. You can do so on Entropy at 15%, at Odyssey at 15%, and on Cash App at 0%. The people at Entropy deserve the 15%. They're keeping, as an alternative platform, free speech alive. And we are so very happy and happy for them and proud of them. Please let me know. Give me some feedback on the microphone and the visual. Do I sound rich and full and deep and magnificent? And is the visual looking as normal as it should? Great to see everybody on YouTube, on D Live, and on Odyssey, and wherever else you may be watching. We'll be able to actively monitor some of the other locations in the very near future, including Rumble. Don't know if anybody is there, but you may watch us over there. In fact, I think you're able to financially gift over there as well, but I'm not monitoring it. So please, if you do so tonight, I won't know until later in the week. So don't expect me to read your comment. Now, you may comment, you may ask questions. That's what these gatherings are about. This is not just a show to aggrandize me or to have attention and eyes on me. It is for us to grow together in service to white well-being with the Go Free method, a practice that you apply to your life. Very simple one. It is about concepts. It is about a psychological defense to the psychological warfare that is waged against us. It works where other vehicles and religions, ideology, etc., have failed, have all been defeated by anti-whiteism, because anti-whiteism is psychological warfare. And as it is a single entity around the world, like disease, need only one cure. Anti-whiteism need only one cure, and we have delivered it. We continue to improve and sharpen the Go Free method with the help of many geniuses, wonderful people, artists, and the like. So I'm very grateful to all of you. Please share your thoughts and ideas and questions over the course of the night. Tag me as No White Guilt on all of the platforms. Over on Entropy, not only can you financially gift, but you can also jump onto the question widget, which is also known to us as the tall Kevin widget. It won't disappear there. It won't scroll away as your comment does elsewhere or question does elsewhere. Be prepared to save your comment or question if looks like it's going to scroll off of one of the other chats and I have not had an opportunity to see it. I think what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to jump right into this 16-minute, 41-second video, maybe go about halfway through, and then take a break to look at your comments and questions a little bit more closely and to have some personal conversation. But I will still be looking at your comments and questions and definitely your financial gifts while I am reviewing this, and potentially therefore speak to those questions and comments as well. And we're going to begin tonight with two financial gifts that I missed the last time we were together because they came in a few seconds too late over on Cash App. So we're going to say a big thank you to Real Playlist for a $7 financial gift. Thank you so very much for that. And writes here, for the road and safe travels. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that fine gift and kind words. And also we have Light of the Twin Lamps, which we know is a person who is non-white and financially gifting $10. Non-white, but supports, of course, the struggle against anti-whiteism, because anti-whiteism is the banner under which all things that people of all races across the West love and hold dear. And so for those things to be preserved, like right of self-defense, everybody's going to have to come together and put an end to anti-whiteism. It is the great evil of our age, and it is that which calls forth good people of all races and immutable characteristics to come together and put an end to this pernicious blight across the world. Let me see what you all are saying over here really quickly. A big thank you again to Light of the Twin Lamps and Real Playlist, who were over there on Cash App. Came in just a tiny bit too late the last time we were together. We also have a financial gift on Cash App from the one and only Caleb. And a big thank you to Caleb for a $10 financial gift. Caleb's coming in and making it happen and rocking, and we deeply appreciate that. God bless you, brother. $10 financial gift on top of all of the other activism, munificently giving of himself. And that is what sets men and women of the West apart from those who are just kind of observing what we are doing in the world, and then cheerleading, maybe celebrating successes as their own. So let's go ahead and get started, and I will. Well, let me see. Did anybody give me audio and visuals are good, says Robert. Thank you for that. And the visual is perfect. Our sweet ladybug. Thank you so much. Sounds good, Art Acrobats. Elaine is here. Says, sounds great. Thank you. Good. Montana Kid, yes, and you look great, Jason. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and get started. Who is this young lady? Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know. She was mentioned to me, Little Apostate. Might refer to her as L.A. while we are together reviewing this video of hers. She apparently was an anti-white. Now, I think she refers to it in the interview that she did with James Edwards very recently, I think 2 weeks ago, as a leftist. And this is many, many people, and this is a good thing, folks. It's a good thing. Let me go ahead and bring up this screen. It's a good thing when folks come away from anti-white ideology. There really is not today a leftist leftist sort of collection of ideas that is not anti-white. I mean, you would have to be maybe in some sort of a laboratory. So there's no collection of leftist ideas where somebody can say, no, I was just a leftist. I wasn't anti-white at all. No, you absolutely, to be a leftist, have to believe very pernicious anti-white ideas. Now, people who call themselves rightists are inflicted with meme pathogens, anti-white concepts, and then they are animated as a consequence of those things. Because remember, when men and women are possessed by ideas, they become tools of those ideas, which is one of the main reasons why we give them a new set of concepts so that they become tools of tools of their own well-being, tools and parts of an engine of a new age. That's what we do with the Go Free method. So the good point is, and this proves me right yet again, and those of us who have thought similar things in white positivity, that white people and non-white people of good character, they do not want to be immoral in the conversation. And so when white people come away, and I've been arguing this forever, and sometimes I want to like hand out credit to folks over the years, but there's really none to hand out. I mean, I had infinite, it feels like it's legitimate hyperbole, battles with folks in the white sympathetic sphere about whether or not white people of just average to good character, they need to feel that they are moral in the conversation, that they're doing the right thing. And there were far too few who agreed. So there was an endless fight. And this, when whites come away, when non-whites come away from anti-whiteism, and they try to say, well, I was this, this leftist or whatever, but I wasn't anti-white. What they're saying is, Jason was right. I don't want to tell you that I was anti-white. I don't want to share that I had anti-white sentiments, that I endorsed anti-white endeavors, and what would that be? Anything that would harm white people. Do you want to take away, the right to self-defense because white people are gun nuts or whatever? Do you want to prevent people from speaking because white people might say things, or even non-white people might say things that will enable white people to collectively defend ourselves? These are anti-white positions. So when folks, and that's fine that you grow up in a completely anti-white soup from birth. You're born into it. How can you know different? How can you know better? And I was a quirk. I had a chance event in preschool, as you all know, and that changed things radically for me. But typically, you're born into this anti-white poison, just like a deep sea fish is born into the ocean. You don't know that you are in water. That's water is not all there is. You think that white people are responsible for all of these horrible crimes, and you think that scales have to be righted, and you think that the crimes are continuing today. So we all come from the anti-white narrative with varying degrees of having participated in anti-whiteism, and yet we all have participated in anti-whiteism. And to heal, we have to admit that. To heal, we have to say, yes, I was part of the problem. To heal, we have to say that, yes, I am infected with anti-white concepts. When I hear bigot, or when I hear etc., I immediately think of a white person. These are thought diseases that we call meme pathogens. And so she has said, L.A. here, Little Apostate, has said, well, she was a leftist. I don't know how radical she was. I only caught parts of this interview. James Edwards highly recommended her to me, and Jared George told me about her. And so I thought, well, I'll reach out to her, and she has responded, and we hope to have her on tap in the near future. And I thought, well, I'll pull up this video, I'll do a review, and we will get a little bit of education from the conversation, because it's very interesting. Somebody coming from this place of their own volition And we have seen this, and we are going to increasingly see this among white women because they're realizing they are not going to be saved. They're not going to be from the turmoil and hell that anti-whiteism has been inflicting on white men to a greater degree than white women for beyond our lives, beyond our parents' lives, beyond our grandparents' lives. And so I haven't watched this, but this is the video that I was told that has earned her a lot of ire from anti-whites. And so we can explore this and see quickly, as when I say quickly, you know that it's going to be a long time. But nonetheless, it's going to be worth it. Let me know that the audio is still working fine if it is, and that you can hear her okay. I think you should. So let's roll right now.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Thinking in Criminal. This is Little Apostate, and the past couple of days I have upset a lot of people on the Twitters. First it was, a lot of people know how I feel about the state of our world today, how degeneracy has been put on a pedestal pretty much. Everything from like Call Her Daddy podcasts to OnlyFans accounts. It's all pretty disgusting. So
I'm just jumping right there. That's obviously a good sign. So she's having this visceral, natural revulsion for anti-whiteism. It's getting to, of course, a point. It didn't just start anti-whiteism. It's been, as I mentioned a moment ago, at work for a very long time. But it's getting to a point where you can't hide anymore. And really quick, before I leave this point, I want to mention she starts off by saying "thinking in criminal" or something. Did you hear that? This sounds like maybe like it's like a byline or something for maybe shows that she does. And the criminal aspect of it is, so she's at odds. She's antithetical to. She's heretical to the anti-white narrative, the anti-white morality that we are oppressed with. And of course, if you are using the Go Free method in your life, that such a deduction is possible because of where we are in the anti-white narrative, who is really in charge, and where we are placed in the anti-white narrative. So to think, so this is a natural thought process, a thought deduction for her. To think at odds is to be criminal in action. We would advise not to call yourself a criminal, but it sounds like it might be a byline for something she's either it's her show or a podcast or something like that. But the natural revulsion, one of the things that everyone does, women and men, regrettably, heroes don't do this, champions don't do this, is when they see something gross in society, they turn away instead of saying, this is something we have to combat. And one of the reasons that so many white people do this is because of the radical individualism, which is one of the chief reasons why our race has been decimated by anti-whiteism and by the collectives of the world. Because as radical individuals, when we see something repulsive in society, we are able to turn away and go and find some place for ourselves and our family to be away from such a thing. The success of anti-whiteism has increasingly diminished the ability of white radical individualists to just turn away from it, to just look the other way, to find some place to hide. There aren't any safe spaces, or increasingly fewer safe spaces, for white women. Just 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago, white women could walk into an anti-white environment where non-white radical anti-whites were being celebrated, and they would be welcomed in, they would be patted on the back. Of course, they would often have to pay a toll by getting on their backs, but they were welcomed in, and they would even be lauded for standing up against the white male-dominated West, which is such a joke. But increasingly not. And as I say, it's been that way now for a while, but it's finally getting to the point where women, I think she's in her 30s or late 20s, early 30s somewhere. I think women at that age are finally getting to a point where there are fewer and fewer places to hide from anti-whiteism, and fewer places to hide the condemnation for being white. So the fact that this is happening to white women now, so that they can't hide from it, is a good thing. Ultimately, it's bad for these individuals. And generally speaking, we would not want this in our society. But ultimately, it's a good thing because it opens the door for these women who are now afraid of what has become of the world, and are wanting to flee to have us welcome them to something that is productive, loving, focused on our people, and will indeed put an end to anti-whiteism.
When I came across the TikTok trend of young women posting lists of all the men they've slept with and where they met them, kind of broke my heart a little bit, but also something I felt like I have to call out, as, you know, basically what I do is calling out degeneracy, and, you know, degeneracy where I see it, because I truly believe in people being better than they are. And I do feel that shame, not exactly shaming others, but to shame an action is really important, because when you shame an action, the person who does something like that then feels shame. I've felt shame before, and I am grateful I'm capable of it, and I'm grateful I've grown up in a time before all of this shit was happening, because it's really disturbing. And instead of shaming people or shaming actions, we now give people who do shit like this and talk about it in a positive light, we give them podcasts like Call Her Daddy.
Let me just jump in. I mean, this is showing that she has good character to some extent. She's got good character. She's seeing discuss. We don't know. I mean, ultimately, she will know how much of her motivation is born out of her good character and just disgust with anti-whiteism, though not having the words to properly combat it. And also what percentage of it is fear, because she's not going to get a break now being a pretty white woman who can dish out the tokens of being on her back if need be when it comes to the anti-whites. You're not going to find here, and you'll see really quickly if you haven't already, I'm not one of these guys. I'm a real man of the West. There are very few of us left. In fact, a large percentage of the few that are left are here with us in the white well-being community. So I'm not going to throw endless praise at this woman at LA. I will praise her where she it deserves it, and I will correct her where she needs to be corrected, because I'm a man of the West. I don't worship women. Men and women have roles that nature has established, and we are most effective and most healthy when we complement each other in every single way. Leadership is the domain of men, in my opinion. And I believe that nature concurs with me, as he often does.
Which, you know, I've mentioned Call Her Daddy before, but I remember a lot of my friends had told me to listen to it. So I listened to it like one time, and it was girls giving tips on how to give a good blowjob. And I was just...
All right. I didn't know that was going to be said. So just as a warning ahead of time, or I guess now after this has happened, there could be some cuss words or references to sex acts or something like this. This call her daddy or whatever this is obviously some sort of vile anti-white creation. I have no idea what it is. So good on LA for objecting to it.
It's like, this is insane. How is this interesting in any way? It's literally just, you know, teaching girls how to whore themselves out and how to, you know, not respect themselves. So
terrible.
I started receiving a lot of hate on my Twitter when I posted something about
By the way, let's hear what she posted and why she started receiving a lot of hate. I should take some notes while we're listening and adding our thoughts. But or should we just go ahead? I think we'll just go ahead. We'll keep rolling.
These girls doing the TikTok thing got a lot of leftist attention. So these leftists then started to attack the color of my skin, which...
Okay, folks. Is it leftism or is it anti-whiteism? Leftism is a subset of the superset that is anti-whiteism. There is no such thing as leftism in the actual world, in our lived experience today on planet Earth. There is no leftism in a Western country that is not anti-whiteism. No need to try to argue with me because I'll beat you. No need to try to argue with me that in a laboratory, leftist ideology could exist. I don't care. I care about the world where lives are ruined or saved or suffer or have cheer. That's what matters. So the leftists began attacking her race because leftism is a subset of anti-whiteism, just like communism. And you see a lot of these cuckold content creators on what they would call the right and Republicans all the time talking about communism, another subset of the superset that is anti-whiteism. You have to call your victimizer the name on the basis of which they victimize you. Because if you do not, you will not be able to defend yourself against the attack. You will not, furthermore, be able to unite with those others out there who are also attacked on the basis of their race. All of us white people, all of us white folk.
I am white, of German and Irish descent, mostly. And
no wonder she's pretty.
I have no problem with the color of my skin, and I definitely like the color of my skin. I like being who I am.
All right. Just another thought. I mean, the trivialization of race by saying it's just the color of skin, the superficiality, undermines your defense of your people. So the anti-whites will talk about the color of skin. We talk about Western kind, West men, women, and children. White as an ancillary to those. The white people, the white race, Western kind. They're attacking our people, our essence.
So the amount of people that were trying to use it as like...
But do this though. I am saying these things for your benefit. If you're new or you're going free, you haven't gotten to these topics, you haven't thought about these things yet. This is not a condemnation of LA. She's a fish, a deep sea fish in the Marianas Trench. She doesn't know that there is a method called Go Free. She doesn't know that there are concepts that have been scientifically proven that will empower her, that will enable her to speak out against, to combat anti-whiteism from the moral high ground while simultaneously forcing the anti-whites into immoral position, their actual immoral positions that they then have to articulate. She doesn't know that we can make her infinitely more powerful. She doesn't know that the Go Free method applied to yourself, treating yourself for the anti-white concepts that you are poisoned with, meme pathogens, that as you treat those, you gain access to more and more of your latent physical, mental, and spiritual abilities. Let's make sure that this young lady, who obviously is a fine woman, to want to come away on her own, away from anti-whiteism and the cult that is anti-whiteism, running after her with a bow and arrow and gun and knife and pitchfork and everything else. It's very brave of her. It shows a lot of character, and for her to take this heat. But she doesn't need to be as weak as she is in the midst of that conflict. She can be infinitely more powerful, and we can give her access to that power. We want to give her access to that power. If she's already kicking ass, imagine how amazing she will be if she starts implementing the Go Free method in her life. So what you're going to hear out of her, this is not I'm not making fun of her. I'm not harassing her for using the concepts right out of the anti-white narrative, because she doesn't know any better. I'm just pointing them out so that we can grow together.
Like a trump card that, oh, a white girl is saying this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that I'm supposed to be ashamed for being white. And I've been getting a little tired of it. When you look up what white pride means, the Wikipedia entry is all negative stuff. It's like, basically, you're a Nazi if you're proud of being white. If you look up black pride, Asian.
Okay, so that's these sorts of slanders. You're a Nazi, and then the word that we, of course, never use, the concept racist, which destroyed Western civilization. These are all to delegitimize white well-being. These are all to force you to lower your guard so that you can be victimized by anti-whites who would not be able to victimize you otherwise. And just so folks know in the live chat, if somebody shows up, and I wanted to mention this, if somebody shows up and they say they want to, I guess, honestly and respectfully disagree with me, they have something to say, I'll have a look at what they say, but I need somebody to alert me by tagging me that, hey, this person is saying this, if they're not tagging me. Because we had on the stream the other day, we had these anti-white folks that came in, they claimed to be whatever race, and they were saying things that to try to contradict me and argue with me. And I just by accident saw one during the stream, and I burnt that person down quite easily. So let me know if that's happening, if there's an actual point being made. If somebody just shows up as always with some sort of slander, some sort of disgusting comment, then no need to tell me about that. But we know how to handle trolls. All right.
Asian pride, gay pride, whatever the fuck it is, you are basically made out to be a hero for being proud of something that you had nothing to do with. So, you didn't make yourself white or black or Asian. You were born that way. But if other people are going to be proud of their race, I believe I should be allowed to be proud of my race too. So my next mistake, or not mistake, was...
Okay, so that's interesting right there, was the unfairness of it. Now, this is something that is intrinsic to white people. I'm not saying that it's not in the non-white races, but it's something that I can speak about for us. This need for fairness. Now, this is one of the flaws that so many in the white sympathetic sphere have stumbled upon in the past. They say, well, for example, if non-white people are allowed to celebrate who and what they are, then all white people, if we just tell them about that, if we just complain about a non-white race constantly, and we tell the white people, our brothers and sisters out there, about that, then their sense of fairness will be lit, and they'll think, no, I should be able to be proud about being white then. It's uncommon. And here's why. Because along with the claim in anti-whiteism that, for example, Hispanics should be able to be prideful about their race and heritage and celebrate this and force it on you in our countries, they also tell white people that you owe because you have harmed them so much. And so by you not being allowed to be proud about who you are, by you having to hate who and what you are, physically what you are and what your people are, that is being fair. Do you follow how that ends up working, playing out for white people? They end up thinking that fair is non-white races celebrating themselves and magnifying that celebration, and white people magnifying their white guilt and self-hatred. So what's being measured and how it's being measured and where there's a thumb on the scale is relevant. And I understand that not everybody is intelligent enough to get all of these things and in the white sympathetic sphere. But when you see that your position has been defeated, and you see that played out in reality, your position isn't working, then the honorable thing to do is abandon that. Regrettably, there are too many white people, just in the West, generally speaking, that have the worst possible characters that you can imagine, are just really just lousy people. And so they don't abandon what doesn't work. Instead, they dig their heels in. And that's a sign of how sick our race has become as a consequence of living under anti-whiteism. So let's continue. I see there are wonderful champs here today, so that's great.
Tweeting that I love being white, which, I don't know, I never really cared about being white until everyone told me I'm supposed to hate myself for it. And I refuse to hate myself, so people hate me. You'll do all the hating of me for me because
So you see right there, she didn't care about her race. Now, that was not a natural consequence of just being born into the world. Our biospirits, the biospirit of our people, did not bring her forth to be indifferent to what and who she is and the debt she owes and the glory that she can achieve in life for that biospirit that brought her forth. You're not born with a citizenship. You're not born with a religion. You're not born with any of these things. You're only born with the biospirit. So the only way that she could end up in a place where she did not care about being white is because she was born into the anti-white narrative. And she was told, potentially at ages younger than she can remember, although if she starts going free, implementing the Go Free method in her life, like many of you have discovered, that these memories come back from early childhood, where you learned that, oh, honey, it is evil to be proud of that. It is, if a little white child said, boy, our people are so pretty. Oh, that is evil. Don't ever let any adults hear you say that. Don't ever think about our people. So that's how she was in a state of not caring, not thinking about being white and not caring. And now, as you can see, anti-whiteism marching on. She's exposed to more and more of it, perhaps as her circles have widened. And she's not only told you can't mention it, you can't care about your people, you can't have pride in your people, but you actively have to hate the white race if you're white. That means you have to hate yourself. You remember, folks, not all of us who are alive today. I mean, this is anti-whiteism moves incrementally. And that's because it moves as quickly as it can relative to, and it's not some handful of guys at the top of the world. It is the expression and desire of anti-whites against the inertia of what is legal and what is perceived to be acceptable within or just beyond the bounds of law and social acceptability. As anti-whites inflict increasing damage to Western civilization and norms and white people, those bounds stretch further and further, and if allowed to go far enough, they will go to total biological white erasure. And so, for younger and younger white people today, you find that you are not allowed at all to have a reprieve from being white by being radically anti-white. Older people, with 40s, 50s, 60s, etc., they will know that in the past, you used to be able, if you were white, to be radically anti-white, and that gained you a reprieve from anti-whiteism. You could be celebrated. Increasingly, no.
I'm not going to hate myself. I love myself. And I'm, tweeting I love being white was apparently very triggering for a lot of people. And then there were people who tweeted back, like, I love being black. And that's fine. Like, why would I be upset about that? So, I thought it was really interesting. It was kind of I like, I have fun trolling. Of course I have fun trolling. I'm not going to lie and pretend it's not funny to me to say something and have, people like, run in circles over it. But it was a bit of an experiment because, I can't get banned on Twitter just for saying I love being white. Why is it so controversial to admit that you love yourself?
You cannot be banned yet. And if this continues, if we do not get the Go Free method to all of our brothers and sisters, many of them as we possibly can, and reach that number of white people where they are, where we would need them to be to make increasing salubrious, beneficial change for us in combating anti-whiteism, there will be a day, and I'm not talking about 20 years from now, where professing love for yourself as a white person will be a bannable offense. Guaranteed. Reptile says, beautifully articulated points, brother. Promethean hails. God bless you. Thank you for that. Folks, if you hear me say something and it really rings true for you, follow the lead of this guy who's brilliant and a master craftsman. He can make magic with his hands. Jump in and say, yes, I know that to be the case because XYZ, or I totally agree with that. Make sure that folks know that you're just not passively sitting there at home. And I have people write in the threads afterward that they're like jumping up and down in agreement, cathartic agreement, but you're not saying it in the live chat if you're here. So folks need to see that sort of agreement, that sort of understanding. So don't be afraid to speak up. Let's continue.
So I refuse to hate myself, and therefore I am very hated. And, that kind of opened up a whole new can of worms. People, like, I guess, stalking my profile a little. A lot of leftists then saw my tweet.
Anti-whites.
That stirred up the most controversy today. My tweet about, all the people who hate me usually fit a similar profile. They are, pale, as in they have not been out in the sun in weeks or maybe months. They're usually out of shape.
So this is, regrettably, and I just saw another video today that I'm going to do a review on. White people inside the anti-white narrative, which is where this woman is, inside the anti-white. You could tell with every one of her, but I love it though. I love it that she's trying to climb her way out of that morass, isn't she? I mean, that should be celebrated. That's a remarkable thing. She's looking for a way out of the pages of that anti-white narrative, where if we stay, she has a hunch. She has a sense that at some point, our people are going to end up on very bloody pages in that book, a very sanguinary end for our people. So she's trying to climb off of the pages of this book. We need to be there for these kind of folks. This is a very attractive white girl, blonde hair. I can't tell what color her eyes are, but that just as she is right there, she does not need to do anything else, and she's going to be hated by anti-whites. She's going to be hated by this anti-white system. In the past, as I was just articulating ago, and it's worth repeating, 10, 20 years ago, certainly 20 years ago, but definitely even 10, she could still find a way in as a white, anti-white girl. She could still find her way in, but increasingly not so. Because the bottom line is that even though she's attractive and she could pay a toll to get in and destroy the white family and have non-white babies, it's not enough because she is alive. So inside the anti-white narrative, who can you speak ill of? Is it when you listen to me and I spell this all out and all of these other champions who are implementing the Go Free method, and you see it come together, and that this doesn't happen anywhere else in the white sympathetic sphere. 30 years I've been here, and I studied with old timers who were around long before me and all of you. And I studied with them. This kind of thing doesn't happen. Nobody says, nobody makes all of these sorts of predictions that come together perfectly and simultaneously able then, as a consequence, as a necessity, to be able to retrodict everything so that it makes perfect sense. You can only criticize white people and anyone who takes positions that could undermine the anti-white ability to victimize Western kind and destroy Western civilization. So she naturally mentions what is, of course, we can say a pale black person. But what is safe to do when you are inside the anti-white narrative is criticize white people. And from MAGA types, and I love you, rank and file, you're awesome. Conservative types, same thing. Patriot types, same thing. Rank and file folks are great. But when you turn on white anti-whites, that's a demonstration of the anti-white narrative inside of you. It's a demonstration of how sick you are. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that white anti-whites aren't as bad as non-white anti-whites. They are. All that matters to me is that they're anti-white. I don't care what they call themselves or what their immutable characteristics are. I never have. All I care about is if they're anti-white. What it does mean is that your infection with anti-white ideas, which we call meme pathogens, your infection with those ideas causes you to condemn only the white ones because it's acceptable to condemn white people. It's not acceptable in the anti-white narrative to condemn non-white people. And for anything, except getting in the way of anti-whiteism. We are on the other side of things. We are outside of the anti-white narrative. We condemn everybody who's anti-white, and we don't give a damn what they are or what they call themselves or what their immutable characteristics are. I don't give a damn if they are black as coal or Jewish as Jewish or blonde hair and blue-eyed Nordic as that can get. If you're anti-white, you're scum.
Nose rings, piercings, tattoos, whatever, colored hair. And
so she don't condemn her because she's coming from there. I just want to make that point again. I'm not condemning her because she's coming from there. What we're seeing here is a bright and courageous woman who, with the Go Free method, think about how far she can go. Think about how magnificent she can be with the Go Free method. Think about how many people she can reach for the well-being of the totality of Western civilization, which includes everybody who lives here of all immutable characteristics. But certainly, foremost, since nobody's caring about the white race, how much good she can do for our people, how much good she could do for white children today if she's empowered with the Go Free method. As I look at her and as I'm hearing her first time with all of you, I'm seeing massive potential.
You know, they're just miserable. Their ideology is focused on anything but self-sufficiency. They believe in relying on the government to help them. They believe on blaming others for their problems. And yeah, I basically just summed up my haters in a short little tweet. And the leftists hated that even more. And so they started going after my looks and
naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been hated like this or had, I was getting death threats and people telling me to commit suicide.
Yeah, that's awful. And I want her to know that the attack on looks, she's obviously a beautiful girl. Come on. I mean, that's just obvious, right? And the attacks on looks and these threats and all, it's because of your beauty. It's because of your inheritance of some of the whatever degrees of each of those things that Western kind brings forth in our children, whatever degree that is. that she has that inheritance in her. That is why they hate her. The only thing acceptable to the anti-whites is her hating herself, marring her flesh, producing non-white children, attacking Western kind and white men. And she'll still be a second-class citizen to the anti-whites, but she'll at least be acceptable as a second or third-class citizen to them. But them saying, I mean, when I got started on the internet, I mean, you all remember, folks who were here then. I mean, it was like every day. It was like, you're hideous. You're hideous. You need to get off the air. Your hair is ugly. You need to get off the air. Your eyes are ugly. You need to get off the air. What was the nose? My nose was ugly. I need to get what is it? Your philtrum? Is that what it's called? What's this thing? The part under your nose? What's the part under your nose? Is that called the philtrum? I think it is. Septum. No, let me just look it up real quick. Okay, it is called the philtrum. Vertical groove between the base of the nose and the upper lip. They started saying, "Oh, his philtrum is too big. Just look at his philtrum. His philtrum's too big." Little do they know, when you got a big philtrum, that's right, big boogers. But they're just going to hit you up all the time with this kind of, just ignore that garbage.
And mostly what I was getting was people making fun of the way I look, calling me ugly, making fun of my lips. I just feel no need to get lip fillers. You can make fun of my thin lips, my Ayn Randian thin lips, which Ayn Rand in all of her books, I noticed, always is like, she describes everyone's lips as being like thin and serious. And
okay, so Ayn Rand, not exactly a champion of the West, but she is what is permitted to combat, to be the opposition. It's just like Republicans are allowed to be the opposition. If I had written her books, they would have never been allowed to see the light of day. I don't think that they're effective anyhow. I think they're detrimental. It's the radical individualism. And if I were one of the oligarchs, anti-white oligarchs in the West, I would want that ideology to be in the hearts and minds and sinew of those who were trying to resist, because the radical individual, and one of our meme curatives is, in a world of collectives, individualism is suicide. That's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with her lips. And don't feel the need, by the way, when anti-whites attack you for something like this. Oh, your lips are thin, or your forehead is too high. You have too much of a forehead. Do not fall for the bait of condemning the appearance of other races. That's just, it's bait to get you to say, especially on a platform like Twitter or Facebook, because as soon as you say, oh, well, and then you criticize some other race for some characteristic of theirs, you're gone. They're going to get rid of you. But most importantly, when it comes to the Go Free method, it's putting your focus in the wrong place. And that's what all white sympathy does, is it puts its focus in the wrong place. That's why we, as white positivists in service to white well-being, we focus entirely on ourselves, on the love of ourselves. So we need to support each other. When anti-whites come along and they say things like, well, your lips are too thin, or your skin is too fair, we need to stand up and say, bravo, Sierra, to the people who were attacked. They are attacking you because you're beautiful. They are attacking, even if you take an ugly person in the white race, you still are an inheritor of the beauty of the white race. And you will be attacked as an avatar for that beauty. You will be attacked as an avatar for the royalty of the West. You will be attacked as an avatar because you are an inheritor of the glory of the past, of the glory of the present, of the spacecraft that we are still able to launch, of the things that we still achieve in the world. You are an avatar and you will be attacked, which is another reason why we don't condone the jokes that are so prevalent about different ethnicities in the white race. That is the core of anti-whiteism. It began, anti-whiteism, with white people mocking and ridiculing and dehumanizing each other. We have to get over this. We have to be intolerant of it, or there's no hope. Rest assured, for those who make it through the bottleneck, we will feel this way. All of the other white people, they're not going to make it. Bass guitarist is here. Great to see you, good brother. One of the best guitarists on planet Earth.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having her, the Ayn Randian caricature of lips. Like, I've seen the way lip fillers look on women. I think it looks awful. I think this whole...
I could jump in. I'm sorry, Porridge, and others out there, fit and healthy at any age. Got to jump in really quickly because this is another thing you can see. Ayn Rand, Jewish woman, very proud Jewish woman. So inside the anti-white narrative, it's okay to celebrate them. It's okay to celebrate positions that they take. And to somebody like a MAGA content creator or the like, again, the rank and file is awesome. We love you. They think that they're making a point by celebrating a non-white person for, in this case, her depiction of thin lips. It's okay because Ayn Rand says so. No, it's okay because thin lips or normal lips are one of many beautiful characteristics that Western kind brings forth in a great, beautiful tapestry of forms. Some white people have thicker lips. Some white people have thinner lips. They're gorgeous. Some have green eyes. Some have brown eyes. It's blue eyes. It's all gorgeous. That's why it's okay. Not because Ayn Rand says so. Now, again, I'm not making light of her. I'm not saying that she's not bright or so. She's clearly very bright. She is. You are seeing this like inchoate state for this woman. This like coming to being, this coming to realization. Her hand is coming up out of the pages. Who's going to grab it?
Whole normalization of plastic surgery, of changing your features, of filters, of all of that is sad. And when I see a woman who's got the lip fillers in public, I know immediately she has lip fillers, and it just looks bad to me.
Talk about bad. I mean, I guess some lip filler is unnoticeable in women, but what happens so often is white women have, and we have to ask the question, and there's so many brilliant people. I can hear your thoughts happening in my head because I've seen your comments so often, all these geniuses. And when I say geniuses, we have more women and more geniuses than anywhere else in the white sympathetic, like legitimate anywhere. And they make these astounding insights. They give these astounding insights in the live chat, sometimes in the threads afterward. Why are so many white women so concerned with having giant lips? Because in the anti-white narrative, we are taught that white is ugly. Imagine taking a non-white group of children and telling them that about themselves and their race. Think about that. Can you imagine? Everyone can look at her and can tell she's good looking. Everyone of every race is going to be able to look at her and say, okay, she's good looking. She's a good looking woman. And yet we have this, like the king's new clothes, that we're taught that the way white people look is ugly. And it's so powerful and it's so detrimental and it's such psychological evil abuse that white women will go out and will fill their lips with so much garbage that their mouth looks like a sphincter. Talk about ugly. How many out there have seen white women with mouths that look like sphincters? And usually what comes out of those mouths is like other sphincters on the body.
Natural. So, yeah, people were saying very mean things to me, calling me ugly, making fun of my lips, bullying me, essentially. Like, I haven't been bullied like that since high school. It was the last time I got bullied was when some girl, or like really, really bullied. Girls have been mean to me, of course. Girls are always mean. Women hate other women that they're jealous of. So, yeah, I mean, the worst one, though, was like girls in high school followed me around, calling me ugly, making fun of my eyes, all of that, just because a guy that one of their girls in their group, it was like the popular girls, the guy that she liked me, and me and him had started dating, and he was like my high school sweetheart, kind of. We were together for over a year, and it was the first time I can say I truly felt love for a man. But anyways, basically that happened today, except on a crazy scale. Like, it's weird when, so many people all at once who don't know you, don't know anything about you, hate themselves, project all of their self-hatred onto you. It is really insane. I've never been...
Remember, folks, when the anti-whites are attacking, it is the jealousy and envy that is driving them when they attack. So it is pure hatred. In their minds, they want to victimize you for the inferiority that they feel about themselves, that you and your presence inspires in them. You don't have to do it. See, that's the thing about anti-whiteism. They want to victimize you, saying that you are responsible, without saying this is tacit. You are responsible for making them feel that way, but you're not. You're not going out there and making fun of their looks. You're not going out there and slandering their achievements or lack thereof. Just you being present. So how do you remedy that? If you are, and I encourage you all to read Prometheus Rising, Take Back Your Destiny. It is my mythopoetic book. I'm working, in fact, I worked all the way up until beginning this stream tonight on practicing the different reading styles for the audiobook. But in that book, it's a didactic telling, and you will understand a lot more about our people because of that didactic story, if you dig into that. But the only remedy then is not for you to be fired first when it comes to layoffs, like we just heard. Where was that? Milwaukee or someplace? It's not for you to not get the job because you're white. Just not get into the school because you're white. It's for you to be gone. That's the only remedy. If your presence, if your existence causes in them sentiments of inferiority that they then feel justifies the victimization of the avatar of all the glory of the West, which is you, then the only consequence that will remedy it is biological white erasure. You want to know where anti-whiteism goes? That's where it goes. So if you're okay with it ending there, then you can just keep on being a radical individualist or a cuckold in the Republican Party or conservative movement or whatever it might be. But that's your destiny or your children's.
Ben, I guess, like, today in the world we live in, everything is just so, everything is kind of blown up. Everything is more almost traumatizing, but at the same time not, because the way I'm looking at this is kind of like a joke. Like, the people who were calling me ugly happened to be extremely fat and hideous themselves, all with OnlyFans links in their bio.
Of course.
The people defending them were just grotesque. Like, like it was like an army of Jabba the Hutts coming after me, which is actually very terrifying if you think about it.
That's funny.
They're like, "Oh, you're ugly," but yeah, they were, calling me ugly, searching through my YouTube, making fun of my YouTubes. Yeah, I mean, and it's making me realize I've really been on the right track with a lot of this. I think that leftism is genuinely evil. I think these, I don't agree with a lot of the people on the right. I think people are too trusting of the government. I fucking hate the government. You guys know that. But I just like the people on the left are truly the epitome of evil.
Yeah.
These are demons.
Yeah.
And, I've had
anti-whites.
I've had a stalker. I've had someone show up across the country, drive across the country to follow me.
Wow.
To shock me and my mom where we were eating dinner.
Oh my gosh.
Shit like that is kind of scary. Like when you realize that there are people who are actually insane that exist on this.
Yeah, and they're anti-white. That's awful. That's really awful. I got my hair cut today. I was at the barber, and the guy across from me, a white guy, just a goofy, ballless wonder, typical goofy, ballless, Mayberry moron, functionally comatose guy. And the owner of the barbershop, a maybe Vietnamese, Southeast Asian, was cutting his hair. And this white guy said, "Oh, my wife is driving to whatever place this weekend." The Vietnamese guy, let's just say he's Vietnamese. The Vietnamese guy says to him, "That's like 2 hours away." And he said, "Yeah, it's about 2 hours." The Vietnamese guy said, "You are letting her go alone?" And man, talk about two different worlds colliding. The white guy being a ballless bitch controlled by the woman in that marriage said in response, "Yeah, she knows how to drive. Yeah, she does. She knows how to drive." What he's thinking is, I wasn't made to go with her. I wasn't asked to go with her. And since he is submissive in that relationship, as the vast majority of white men are, white males, because there are no white men, there are too few of them. That's why there aren't as many here. You can go to other channels and find tons of males and boys, white males and boys. You're not going to find many men of the West. You find them here. The Vietnamese guy was being a man. His wife also works there, and she was there cutting hair. And in fact, she was cutting my hair. And so he said right in front of her, "You're going to let your wife go by herself?" Because he's obviously in charge of his relationship. He's obviously a man in his relationship with his wife. So he was shocked. But of course, the issue there that he's raised is that this country is violent now. And it used to be a place where when it was 90% white, I mean, you could allow, and even lower than that, in my opinion, of course, check with CNN, white woman could go out even in our cities and with a stroller in the evening and nothing happened. But not anymore. Something's changed. I wonder what it is. Now, women going out about on their own have a life that's a lot more like the lives women live in other countries around the world that aren't the West. And so allowing her, this woman, to go alone, or not just telling her, "No, I'm afraid. No, you are not going alone. I'm driving. You are riding." That not being the case, who knows what's going to end up happening to his wife or his daughter. I guess that's what the wife was going to visit or something. But what a difference that was between a man in his race and a male in the white race. But they have, the anti-whites, they're populated with crazy, just absolutely hateful people who believe that victimizing, raping, terrifying, terrorizing, stalking, that it's all legitimate because anti-whiteism tells them it's legitimate. That's what I've said so many times in the past. Do you think that a non-white criminal ever harms, and I'm asking this question because I know the ear is against the door and CNN will have the answers, but do you think that a non-white criminal ever rapes or robs or bludgeons or disfigures or murders a white person without considering to some degree all of the evil that anti-whiteism has told them that the white race has inflicted on them and the totality of the world? Do you think that ever happens? Or do you think they magnanimously overlook all of the horror that the white race, that they believe the white race has inflicted on their people when they murder us, when they rape us? Do you think they magnanimously overlook it? Like, well, you know, the person might be a murderer. He might be a murderer, but he's still going to just be big about it. And before he murders you, he's going to overlook the fact that you're white. Do you really think so? Because if you do, you're an idiot, in my opinion. In my opinion, it might not be what's actually going through their heads. This is just my opinion. But think about it for yourself, because in the Go Free method, you have to use your conscious mind.
In this hell world, in the metaverse, they develop these parasocial, whether it's a parasocial relationship that's built on hatred or love, in their head. They are insane, and they are usually of victim mindsets. And as Tengfisky says, she is going to be awesome if she starts going free, isn't she? She's able to articulate all of the cuckold content creator, Republican, conservative content creator talking points. These people are bad because here's a psychological concept, parasocial, about relationships formed between audience members and content creators, whether it is the regime's media or online media, and how that makes a person sick or contributes to an illness, and that they have a victim mentality. That's what's causing them to come. This is another thing that you see from cuckold content creators, that having a victim mentality is wrong. And how does that end up harming the white race? Well, that ends up harming the white race because we can't claim then that we're victimized. Look at all of the pushback from the white sympathetic sphere, those who are implicitly white sympathetic, when you begin to point out our victimization. And even those who are explicitly white sympathetic, you begin pointing out our victimization, and they immediately come at you with the anti-white narratives line that you can use if you're going to push back against anti-whiteism. You're permitted to use. So that ought to be a key, that you shouldn't be using it, but you're permitted to use that. What you can't, don't play the victim. Playing the victim is bad. That's what the other side does. No, you have to understand, there's a big difference between playing the victim and saying that you're going to put an end to the victimization of your people as a hero for your people. Playing the victim is when you're not actually victimized and you want something for nothing. Demanding the end of victimization of your people is something that men and women of the West could and should be doing. They have inferiority complexes. They are constantly failing in their struggle for power, which is why they develop this group mentality, because it's the only way they feel any power. So when they attack someone, they often attack in a herd because they have no other way to do it. That allows them to be a victim. She just said that they're victims. So if they're victims, that inhibits white people's ability to defend themselves, because here you have somebody that is a consequence, and their action is a consequence of the harm inflicted on them. So how vigorously can you defend yourself against a victim? So she just got done saying that they have a victim mentality, and then she's saying they are victimized because they have failed in their struggle for power.
and that they can only do it with groups. And so they act together. So they got this great backstory for why. So this is not her fault. This is not LA's fault at all. This is the fault of anti-whiteism. This is the fault of conservatives. And this is why conservative leadership, not rank and file, Republican leadership, not rank and file, which is why we have to shame and humiliate and mock and ridicule Republicans and conservative leaders to get them to admit that they don't care about Western kind, or to come out and say, yes, I do. And I will take steps to do something appropriate. I will empower people. I will articulate arguments. Like if Boebert started articulating arguments that actually empowered little Apostate would use those arguments. She would hear them in the anti-white narrative. She would hear them in politics. But instead, she's given this slew of arguments that undermine what she's trying to do, that undermine where she's trying to grow.
That's what, I realized. I already knew this, but like I felt the full force of all the Jabba the Hutts today, trying to weigh me down and get me to dislike myself. But it does not work when you love yourself. And I do. I love being white. I love being blonde. I
Amen.
love being, kind of goofy looking. I have no problem with it.
That she doesn't need to say that.
Anything about myself other than like I just am constantly trying to get into better shape than I am. So I don't know. I just always want to be bettering myself because I always see the person I was yesterday is not as good as the person I am today. And that is a very unfortunate thing for these people, is they will never have that. I have hope for a lot of people who fall onto hard times, or aren't always perfect or have made mistakes in their past, but these people are so lost that the demons have already taken over. They are.
No, that's unfortunate. She's just become an apologist for her victimizers. We need to empower this woman here. I mean, she's not goofy looking. That's just a consequence of their slander. That's a consequence, sounds like, of maybe of high school. I mean, the anti-whites are going to slander attractive people the most. I mean, look at how beautiful Ladybug is, and they slander her looks. So that's just typical of anti-whites. In fact, the more attractive a white person, the more they will slander their looks.
They are about as demonic as it comes, and it is really, truly no wonder that they're all pro-abortion, because they fucking hate life. They hate their own lives. That's what it is. They just don't like life. They don't go outside. They don't feel the sun. They don't exercise. They don't know what it's like to pour sweat under the sun, playing around with a kettlebell. Like, they don't know what that's like. They don't know what it's like to sit down and write and mean it, or paint and create. They literally can only exist within their little hive of deranged, inferior creatures. And like.
So she's calling them inferior based on individuals, not on different groups of human beings.
They could really learn something from, Ted Kaczynski or, Nietzsche. I would recommend Nietzsche to them. The Higher Man in the Herd. Someone sent me.
No, gosh, we can really help you, sister. We can help you out. Don't read Nietzsche. Don't say, what would Nietzsche do? Don't read Ted Kaczynski. I mean, for many people, many of the people listening right now have read all of those things. I know I read all of Nietzsche, and it was valueless. It's just something you say and something you read because you've learned, well, that's what you're supposed to read to find your way out. And then they base these arguments that are utterly feckless in the defense of our people. You know who to read? Jason Köhne. That's who to read.
Something about the Higher Man in the Herd the other day, and it just like I hadn't like thought about Nietzsche in a while, and I love Nietzsche, and I'm not higher man. I'm aspiring to always be higher man. But of course, like, I forget if I said this or not, but like, I'm a human. I have fun trolling. It's fun. I wish it wasn't fun for me. I think that is a little bit of my own evil coming out, like where, I'm laughing as these people are kind of tearing their eyes out trying to insult me. But so I personally don't love that about myself. I wish I didn't like the feeling of owning the libs. Like, I'm not trying to collect their leftist tears. I just like, this all started essentially with me calling out what I see as degeneracy, and then calling out and then saying something as simple as, I love being white. Which I still cannot get over, how you're really not allowed to say that, but there is no good there's no good way to combat that from the left. Like, they have no weapons against something like that, which is why I think more people should just be like, yeah, I love myself, I love the color of my skin, like, whatever. I mean, I would get up if someone gave me a platform to say it, where I'm not just saying it on my little small YouTube channel or on my Twitter. I would say it there too. I would say it on stage. I would say, I love being white, because there's literally nothing wrong with saying that. And we have to stop acting like that's a taboo thing to say, because it's not at all. But okay,
Amen
I just
to
wanted
that.
to make a quick little video before I go out to dinner. So I'm going to go have an excellent dinner, and I will talk to you guys another time. And no, I have not forgotten. Someone DM'd me yesterday, I think, and asked me if I'd forgotten about the porn video I was planning on making. Sounds so stupid saying that.
What?
It's like, oh, you're making a porno? No, where I have a collection of DMs that I had been writing my responses to, and then, I'm not getting paid for this, so it's hard for me to focus my time on this as much as I'd like to, because I have other things I'm getting paid for that I work on. So I will do my best to get that out soon. Hopefully before I'm traveling next week, so hopefully before that. Taking a trip to see my friends, which I fucking miss them. Anyways, okay. I will talk to you guys later.
All right, that's that. So I guess she's going to be either, maybe she has already made a video. Tell me if the mic is still okay. In fact, I'll just go ahead and see if I can, just to preempt any issues. So I'm going to be giving her opinions on pornography, sounds like. Let me go back and see what you all are saying. If you all have any comments or questions that you absolutely want read, then please reach out. Tag me as No White Guilt. You may financially gift on the appropriate platforms, and I will speak to your issues, whatever they might be, your questions, your comments. What did you think about LA? Little Apostate. I'm just going to take a quick look right now through looks like some people several folks causing trouble. The troll slayers are handling it wonderfully. Thank you, dear champions. So I'm just strolling through. So we want her to reach her potential, whatever that is. So she's going to need to implement the Go Free method in her life to be successful for herself, to treat these psychological wounds of anti-white ideas that that we're all infected with. If she ends up, I don't know how many subs she has now on her different platforms, but she could end up with a great many, because we know how sick our race is, that if a female comes along and says some things that they like, then they will automatically sub and start listening and obeying and end up with a gigantic audience. And if she's saying things like, look to Nietzsche and look to Ayn Rand, these sorts of things, this is not going to be helpful to herself or to our people. And again, it's not her fault. It's because she's inside the anti-white narrative. So we have another way, and we hope that she will investigate the Go Free method, and at least for a couple months, and then she can go back to what she was doing before. All right, just strolling through the live chat. All right, I see some great champions here. We have Nathaniel Nelson is with us. Great to see you. Buscape is here. Brant Danger is here. For Null was here. Axis Mundi says she's ready to go free. She has recognized the evil. No, she has recognized the evil. No, she needs to learn its name. Yeah, exactly. Art Acrobats is here. Great to see you, brother. Looks like maybe some of her haters, anti-whites, may have shown up tonight to try to cause trouble. And they're running into the wall of phalanx called the Troll Slayers, and they're having none of it. RSWAG, she is against porn. He says, just looked at her channel. Okay. First Lady of the American Theater is here. Great to see you and welcome. Paul Revere is here. Great to see you. Miss Jess Horse is here. Wonderful to see you. Ed said, read Jason. Amen to that. Of course, the great Franklin is here, and a Reptile. 0022. Wonderful to see the heroes of Western civilization. All right, I don't see any. Cole Pep says, you're a good man. I've mentioned Dugan to you. What do you think of his daughter's assassination? I don't know anything about his daughter's assassination, but I send my sympathy to the family. All right, let me check out over here on Cash App and see if we have any financial gifts to read. And we do. Art Acrobats, $4.14. And writes here, thank you, good brother. What are the heroes and saviors of Earth? Whites, I guess. We are the heroes and saviors of Earth. And he says he's not sorry for that. Thank you so much, good brother. Thank you for always being here in service to white well-being. And thank you for your financial gift. Maki, get out your raucous emojis, your 07s. He went beyond the $20 limit. $25 financial gift. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. He says, do you see that non-whites crashed LA 7-Eleven? I don't know. No, I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up. Thank you very much for the financial gift. Raucous emoji. Art Acrobats actually wrote raucous emojis. Elaine says, thank you for reviewing this, Jason. Yeah, you can really see, and I appreciate that. Thank you for your appreciation. You can really see that this is a person who is inside the anti-white narrative. She has motivators to leave, to get out of the anti-white narrative. She talks about her disgust of the degeneracy that anti-whiteism creates in Western civilization. And I would speculate also that she is motivated to varying degrees by the inescapability of victimization for white women now, and increasingly so in the anti-white narrative. So that is motivating her as well. So, and you get to see her reaching out for the tools to combat anti-whiteism that are ineffective and in fact harm her by using them. She doesn't know that. We don't know that when we're in the anti-white narrative and we're trying to escape. And so that's why those of us here in service to white well-being have to reach out to such people and try to communicate to them. In some cases, it might just be a white positive concept here and there. In other cases, you can outright tell them about the Go Free method and introduce that to them as something that can and will infinitely empower them relative to where they were and what they were using before in their lives and for the defense of themselves, their morality, their existence, their sanity, and also to put anti-whites in their place. There's not enough to, as the immoral monsters that they are. It's not enough to just laugh at them. It's not enough to just, it's definitely not enough to be an apologist for them, to psychoanalyze them and say, well, the reason why they're acting like this is because they are not able to achieve in their life, so they lock arms with other people who can't achieve. You know, the bottom line is when a bunch of people who can't achieve lock arms, they still can't achieve. So these people are motivated by something very different. The zeal of hatred that they have for Western kind comes from a very different place. And you cannot properly defend yourself if you are of the mind that your victimizer is just unwell. Your victimizer is a victim. You can see how that can easily be turned against you. Certainly in the debate, certainly in arguments online. When you open yourself, when you take an argument that the kind of argument that Republicans and conservative content creators implement, they use, when you take an argument like that, it's like if you were to liken it to military, to warfare, it's like stretching your forces out as thin as possible right through the middle of enemy forces. They can just hit you from all sides. There's so many weak points in Republican conservative argumentation against what is rightly called anti-whiteism, that the moment you make these arguments, you're attacked from every which way, and the attacks are strong against those positions. And emotionally, psychologically, it's just too much to try to keep up with. Archangel is here. Hello, brother. He says, hail. Promethean hails to you too. Art Acrobat says, let's all go to Little Apostate's Twitter and tell her about no white guilt. Summer Lee is here. Great to see you. Ginger is wrong. Ginger says, looks like she's doing pretty good on her own. No, she's suffering on her own. What she's doing good on her own is that she has made the decision to leave the anti-white narrative. This is not what you call victorious. If you call that victorious, then you have a bad impression of what victory looks like. She can be victorious, though. She can be powerful. And we want her to be. And I think that Ginger, you're also wrong about me being smitten with LA here. I care about and love all of Western kind. You're undermining my love for our people by reducing it to sexuality. And maybe you haven't taken a look at Ladybug, whom I'm dating. So maybe you need to do that. But you reducing my actual concern for Western kind to no more than a sexual impulse. And that is not what is happening by any stretch of the imagination. So are you implementing the Go Free method, or are you just a fan of hers and you're showing up because I was reviewing her video here? Not following where those arguments are coming from. All right, we have, now I'm going to have to convert this. We have a financial gift of, get out your raucous emojis, ladies and gentlemen. Get excited, because we just got a financial gift of $25.99. Salutes, raucous emojis, 07s for David. Thank you so much, David. He says, thanks for all you do. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your appreciation. That's very meaningful. Thank you. And this is the second time you showed up in this fashion, man. That's fantastic. Good on you. And thank you so much for your support. $25.99 from another champion. Fernal, the great Fernal, says that Ginger needs an attitude adjustment. Yeah, what's going on? Are you implementing the Go Free method in your life? You should. Machiavelli says, no white guilt. Look, street takeover turns into violent store. I saw that. Bunch of anti-whites going nuts. Well, maybe you're having a bad night and you're going to need to. Pants is here. Great to see you. Maybe you're having a bad night. I get it. Speed Runner is here, said, I'd leave it to the outreach team. Yeah. Well, let me make the point though. If you are a guy that is, if you are a guy, and I technically I don't know what this girl's. I think if Ladybug is still here, I think Ladybug told me that she is single. So if you're a guy and you're interested in her potentially as a mate somewhere down the road, because you're not going to want to listen to Ayn Rand all day long, don't reach out with that sort of energy, because that's not being a man of the West. So instead, you want to reach out as someone concerned who has information that can empower her so that she can be more effective in the reclamation of herself from anti-whiteism, and being masculine and caring, but not hunting prey, is much more attractive to a woman than hunting the prey. What is this Montana kid saying? Don't look at Ladybug? What is that, Montana kid? No look at Ladybug? Fernell says that he's a ginger. He is. Fernell's got one of the best iconic looks of all time. Scott says Jason can be a matchmaker for white singles. I actually might do a show in the future about matchmaking, and if you're a man, how to find a good woman to find a good man. The first time I saw Fernell, I was like, of course he's a wizard. I knew all along this guy, as he was so talented. He's got all these abilities and super bright. And then he shows up and I'm like, of course, he's a wizard. Franklin says that would be useful. Yeah, it would definitely be. And that's one of Ladybug's ideas. I have done with Jared George a couple of taps where we talked about relationships, but this would be something like a show dedicated to it, and it would come around. It wouldn't be like every week or something like this, but maybe once a month or something of that nature. But it's a good idea, and I think that it would help a lot of people out, because one of the things that is ruined for Western kind because of anti-whiteism is our ability to find a quality mate and to start and support a family. Being sick with mean pathogens makes it so difficult. And there are other factors as well. The success of Western civilization is also a factor because of the abundance. What little girls are told when they're young, what little boys are told when they're young, how men are taught by their mothers to love women is the 180% wrong approach to a relationship with a woman and how to love a woman. If your mother told you, or sister, or some other woman in your world told you that you need to be worshipful of women or something, you need to visually go and slap the shit out of them for that. If you've been living that, you've been messing up in a big way. And yeah, the girls around you will tell you, yeah, that's what you should do. You should be very sycophantic and write poems to us all the time. So some of the things I would share is these kinds of thoughts on that show. You never love a woman with the love that, I'm speaking to men, with the love that is supposed to be meant for our people as a whole. Our people as a whole is unchanging. It can't cheat on you, it won't cheat on you. That biospirit that speaks to you, it's eternal. It doesn't change. That's the only thing that can warrant that kind of love. And men are encouraged to love women with that kind of, that's like loving a pet saber-toothed tiger. I mean, it's just nuts. It's just like you see it and you just want to run into the cage and throw your arms around it. And that'd be the last time you do it. So that's not how a man's supposed to love a woman. And that's what is taught across the West today. And that is exactly what women do not want down deep. Wurswog, how do you pronounce your name? Is the S silent? Wog? He says, I just ordered your book, Going Free. Going to read it and then share it with my family when they come to visit. Might be an early Christmas gift for them too. That is awesome. Let's get a round of raucous emojis. I salute you, brother. That's magnificent. Yeah, jump in there, both feet. This is the practice that will change your life. But remember, this is not like a book by Nietzsche. You don't read it to say that you've read it and then put it on a shelf so that everybody sees it and that you can maybe cite a line or two out of it. That's not how it works. This is like working out. This should be full of your own writing. The pages should be worn. You go over it again and again. It's a workbook. That's why on these gatherings, on Sundays, tomorrow, I'll be talking about, I have a segment dedicated to the Going Free lesson of the day. We cover several important areas. So this is a whole change of lens, and it's by way of concepts, and you get started with just a couple of them. Changes everything. Oh, you're welcome, man. That's cool. Thank you. J.W. Oldner says, wow, Jason, there are a lot of females out there, but not many women. Yeah, it's the same way with men or guys. There are a lot of males out there, but not many men. And there are a lot of females out there, but not many women. So, yeah, you have to, both sides need to learn some lessons and then apply it unfailingly. So did we find out why Montana Kid said, don't look at Ladybug? Did he never respond? Or was he actually talking about a literal ladybug? That's what I'm guessing. Reptile says, what? No, I killed. What? Keep a copy of Go Free framed in the living room. LOL. I'm not taking it down either. He's got one framed in the living room. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's awesome. Reptile is so cool. The whole family. The people who are going free, man, they just get better and better and better. And yeah, some folks have a clean copy of Go Free, especially some of those that have some of the older versions as it's been growing. They have a clean copy, and then they have a copy that they're in, all the time. Oh yeah, what was that thing? I want to look back and find that again. I do it too. Art Acrobat says, I am a man, hear me roar, meow. That's like every Republican, every male Republican. Oh, he said, don't look like a ladybug, not don't look at ladybug. That's what Montana Kid wrote. Okay. Don't look like one. Right. Well, ladybug definitely doesn't look like one. She's a knockout. Yes, I got it. Yes, Montana. I got it right before you wrote that, I think. He wrote, I was being sarcastic. She's hot. She's a hot-looking girl. Yeah, she is. JC says, hey, Jason, no white guilt. Hey, brother, how you doing? Scott is here. Hello to you and welcome. All right, let's see what's on these other platforms. High Speed Drifter says, I look like a VW bug. That's funny. Not a ladybug, a VW, Volkswagen. Caleb agrees. Yes, Ladybug is a hot-looking girl. She is. .0022 says, Promethean hails. Yes, I had to. And you know what? Franklin says, we're all so beautiful. We are, man. That's great. And I met Franklin in person. That guy's the real deal. He's making it happen. A true champ. Yeah, you know, one of the things that Ladybug does is when she has a picture of herself that she wants to post, she'll ask me, is this okay? So if the woman you're with doesn't do that, you might not be a man. What is this? It says, I put my copy in a shadow box with my No White Guilt stones in Eindelen. Hangs over the family couch. That is so cool. I'm gonna have to come over one of these days and see that. Well, Caleb, we'll be able to meet soon. I'm in Northern Virginia. Axis Mooney says he's got the Kindle version of Go Free with a whole folder of Go Free notes. That's fantastic. Yeah, on the Kindle version, thank you for mentioning that, brother. I appreciate it. On the Kindle version, if you haven't, you can highlight on Kindle. You can make notes all over your Kindle books. That's fantastic. Yeah, so you can do the exact same thing for. You can do the exact same thing with Go Free on Kindle that you can with a physical copy. Great to see. Looks like Ginger is, everybody's getting along better now. That's what I like to see. Let me take a look over here at Entropy. All right, we got one over at Entropy, and it's one and only, ladies and gentlemen. You know her so well. The great Mrs. Jess Horst. $5 financial gift. Thank you, sweet lady. She writes here, Hail Western Kind. Thank you so much for that. Such a champ. She's been here for so long. 9 kids going free. The kids are being inoculated against anti-whiteism with Go Free. If we could have the whole world like that, that would be amazing. All right, let's take a look over here on Odyssey. We have Thoughts writes, buying Jason's book to hand out to others will be a goal of mine. Well, thank you so much, man. That's fantastic. That's a brilliant thing to do. It's totally munificent when you give of yourself and your time, when you care about somebody enough to reach out to them with something that actually works, something that can actually change their lives. No calls tonight. I'm going to be getting out of here. Not too much longer. I mean, maybe should I share a story or two? Thoughts says, let's see, being in the abyss says, got 3 flyers downloaded on the NWG site, printed them out, ready to give to others. 3 handed out. Feeling of hopelessness is reduced by doing something. Precisely. Yeah, precisely, man. That is fantastic. We bring all of our efforts together, and we are like the molecules of H2O that once combined are like the tidal wave, and we wash away the evil of anti-whiteism. In this, the thing that I mentioned before, what's so great is that this actually works. It works on you, and it works on those around you. So you know you're accomplishing something by passing on concepts from the Go Free method, because they are a curative contagion. People will want to take them up because they selfishly work for the individual, and then they are passed on as a consequence in conversation. And then those people who hear them will take them up for the selfish effect that it has in their dealings with others, and then it will be passed on again. Somebody asked, Jason, are you going to the AFN White Unity Conference? I don't know what that is. I think that was actually from another stream, but you'll have to tell me what that is. NW Guilt is here. It says, hello, brother. A big hello to you over there on D Live. Oops. All right, we just hit the 2-hour mark, and unless there's some more to cover, I'm excited about, or you all have more questions or something of that nature, comments. I'm excited about this little apostate and her potentially being empowered by the Go Free lexicon, the key concepts at a minimum, and then sharing those with a growing audience. There'll be a lot of white women out there who will see what she has to say, and they'll feel comfortable in watching her and the streams that she does. And then they too will be empowered. And that's what we need at the core of white well-being. Since we are focused on love, hope, and redemption, and since we are not just meant to aggrandize some individual or make money or something of that nature, since we want to be something permanent, but that means we need a heartbeat. And the heartbeat for a community is the family. So that requires our men and women coming together and in marriage, and the creation of healthy children that they inoculate against anti-whiteism with the Go Free method. And I can't stress that enough, because just teaching them to be proud or teaching them about the European lore or European legends or whatever it might be fails, because it has failed already. And it has failed because we have a psychological warfare that's waged against us by way of anti-whiteism. And therefore, we have always needed and haven't had a psychological defense for it until the Go Free method. So it's working. Let's go ahead and get behind it. Let's make it into something truly magnificent that the anti-whites will never have a chance against. It already works at this level. So the more we magnify it, the more people we get it to, the more people who have power to communicate to larger and larger communities, the more powerful it will be. It's not dependent on a whole swath of society rejecting whole pieces of history. It's not dependent on a whole swath of society identifying the things that victimize us as communism, because that's not even possible. That's not the point at which we're being attacked. So with each individual that is brought on board, more can be reached. Ardent Parties says, no white guilt. And all, of course, hail to everyone. Great to see you. Azimuth Clark says, painting rocks and making posters was fun. It was something I did with my son. My cousin saw no white guilt on a poster. She said she knew it was me. That's great, man. Thank you so much for your service to white well-being. We have a Franklin is alerting me to Scott, I guess, had a question or a comment. Okay, Scott is, first let me see, Caleb says, that would be great, man. I don't know how much longer I can stare at these black mirrors. Give me some context, brother. Scott's asking, Jason, what's your definition of going free exactly? What's my definition of going free exactly? Go free is a method. It's a practice. It's a series of concepts at its most basic that you use when discussing socio-political matters, that, as a consequence of their use, puts you into a different story, our story, where we are moral, where we are the good guys. It does other things as well. The Go Free method teaches you to treat yourself for anti-white concepts that you are infected with. They're in your subconscious mind. Just like driving a car is in your subconscious mind. Since you can't delete those things, you have to specifically create counter triggers for them. And we teach you how to do that. These concepts undermine these anti-white concepts, meme pathogens, undermine your latent abilities, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So you are less than you could be as a consequence. And if you doubt that, just imagine that you take a non-white child and you teach him over the course of his childhood into adulthood that his race is evil and that he's evil as a consequence, and all of the things that white children are taught about ourselves. Do you think he would reach his full potential? Do you think he might pull the reins back on what he could do because he should let other races go forward? Do you think he could even imagine what he would be capable of? How great he could be? Of course not. You take any child and you ultimately inflict on them the notion that they're evil, the only good they've ever done is their people has ever done, and that therefore them has ever done is to steal from others. And then is he really going to try to be that great pianist? And if he does try, is he going to really try? Is he really going to tap into his real abilities, his real latent abilities that we've seen manifest in our people again and again? And even if that does begin to blossom inside of him some other way, is he not going to somehow cover his light with a blanket of white guilt? Of course. We see that all over. When you implement the Go Free method in your life, you'll discover that prior to implementing it, when you tried to argue for your own self-defense, for the welfare and well-being of our people, the first person you had to argue with was you. Because every time you think something, when you're in the anti-white narrative, that is antithetical, that is at odds with anti-whiteism, your subconscious mind reminds you that it's evil, that it's ugly, that the good and good-looking people won't side with you. You have to overcome all of that. That is an emotional trauma. That is something that you can't overcome while simultaneously trying to overcome the objections and the arguments being made by an anti-white in front of you. who's been taught, if you stay in their narrative, exactly what to say to defeat you there. As many people have said to me over the years, and they were wrong, that you can't just create your own concepts. You can't just have people follow you down the road to where you want them to go. But of course, I was right, and you can, because we are the people they have to propagandize. We are the people they have to talk to. We are the people they have to get to lower our defenses. And so, to be able to talk to us, if we refuse to speak with their terminology, remember, if you use their terminology, you legitimize their ideology. It's another MC in the Go Free method. If you refuse to go there, then they have to go where you are. And as we have demonstrated many times with these great champions here who are implementing the Go Free method in their lives, when they come into contact with anti-whites, and an anti-white has to go where they are, the anti-white comes away from that conflict looking demonic, looking evil, feeling immoral. And time and again, we see people who, in conversations with their family members, for example, people they want to bring to the Go Free method, that where they had nothing but resistance before, when debating or arguing or discussing sociopolitical matters with inside the anti-white narrative, once they're going free, once they're using the concepts of the Go Free method, suddenly their family members are able to hear. Suddenly their family members are able to understand. Why is that? Well, because these things were created for that purpose. They were created to bring our brothers and sisters over to love, hope, and redemption, to the defense of ourselves against the victimization by anti-whites. These things simultaneously inflict on the anti-white of any race, but of course, including the white race, anti-whites, the positions wherein they have to defend their immorality. And almost everyone, except for the most rabid of anti-whites, the most sick of anti-whites, are loath to want to defend immoral positions. And when they're put in that spot, they get confused and they back down and they lose again and again. So the Go Free method is a practice. You utilize it in your life. You reflect on it. You treat yourself for your mean pathogens as a practice. It therefore is a lens on your world where we are the good guys, where it is moral to stand up for white well-being. And it works. We have, ladies and gentlemen, a financial gift of $10 US. 10, you hear it? 10, save us from the anti-whites. $10 financial gift proving that the Go Free method works from Robert. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming in here near the end of our roll-in Going Free. I don't think I missed anybody. Let me jump to the bottom. Scott says, I see Jason. Awesome, man. Lewis says, thanks for creating Go Free, Jason. Well, I appreciated that, man. Thank you so much for saying that. And it continues to become more and more potent. And we're going to have a Caleb's getting out of here. We're getting out of here in just a minute too. We're going to have either iteration 3 or the 3rd edition coming up when I'm done with the audiobook of Prometheus Rising, which I hope does magnificently, because that is exactly what it's meant to do for our people. JC says, what is the best way to contribute to you now. I've been gone about a year. Well, your options are Cash App in the description. All of these are in the description below. Cash App, and there's no charge to you there to financially gift me. Entropy, which is, as I say, also in the description below, and 15% of charge there to you, but those good people deserve it because they're keeping free speech alive. And then Odyssey, the same 15% charge to you. They're all in the description below. All right. Well, I'm going to be back tomorrow. Things are getting exciting, by the way, because I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to have our normal gathering tomorrow. It's going to be truly splendid beyond explanation, as they all are. That's Sunday. Monday is for the dragons. And so you have Yiz and her show at 6 to 8 or some time after 8. And then also you have for Null's show, Dragon Show, at 8 to 10 or so sometime after that. And they are wonderful shows. You should check both of those out. And we've shared the links quite a little bit. But Yiz the Eunuch on YouTube and Cornelius Newland on YouTube is where you can find these things. So that's Monday. Make sure you're there for those. Sundays tomorrow is Going Free at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Jason Goes Political. We'll be back in the studio, in the awesome studio. Jason Goes Political. And then at 8:30, actually, I might start Jason Goes Political a little early, maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes early, because at 8:30 Eastern Time, I will be appearing with I Hypocrite over on his channel. And do try to make it over. He's going to be in a debate later in the week, and we're going to be talking about some of the tactics that he can bring to bear against anti-whites in that debate. It's going to be really wonderful, and a lot of good people are going to be exposed to the Go Free method for the first time. I think he has like 100,000 subs, something like that, on YouTube, and then maybe even more on many more, I think, on Twitter, right? I'm not sure, but he's a good guy, and he's a real good guy, a very interesting guy, and so it'll be a good time to talk with him on a stream on Tuesday. So try to make it to both of those on Tuesday. 2 shows on Monday. Mondays are for the dragons, and then tomorrow 5 to 9:30 Eastern Time is Jason Goes Political, and we'll be talking about political things there. And there's enough political things going on to talk about for sure, but that's going to be exciting. So I think I'm going to go ahead. I've got to get ready for tomorrow's show. So I think I'm going to roll out, and hopefully we'll be talking to Little Apostate. Yeah, that's what she's called. Little Apostate on tap sometime soon, and get her thoughts on what's going on now. Is she's still being stalked? I want to learn more about this guy that showed up to terrorize her and her mother. What a psycho. But otherwise, it has been glorious as always, folks. And I will see you, every single one of you, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Roll out.